Morning friends, happy Friday. How the heck you doing? It's a bit of an autumnal day in the UK, but it's not frosty yet, but this is. Did you see what I did there? I think this is the actual photo of William&Kate and the children arriving at Balmoral. This is from Hello magazine. This is what's on everyone's lips, whether you're a royalist or not. The fact that they have to have a family summit to discuss how they're going to handle Harry and Meghan is absolutely everything you need to know about how they view Harry and Meghan, but more importantly, how famous Harry and Meghan are. Because this family of parasitic scroungers will now actually have to do some work because they will be overshadowed by Harry and Meghan 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The media cannot get enough of Harry and Meghan, their work ethic, the way they shine their light on everything that we need to talk about in the world, and the fact that anything they touch commercially gets sold or turns to gold. They could not be opposite to this bunch of lazy eco-hypocrites that do nothing and achieve even less in their daily lives. And I say to Harry and Meghan, let's bring it on. This is what the UK needs, Harry and Meghan, not this lot, to get it back in the global spotlight, turn our economy around and make our lives better.
William and Kate are going to struggle with Harry and Meghan's move back to the UK. So obviously the news has been very unwelcoming news to William and Kate. Obviously yesterday they went up to Balmoral to see Charles, either for a meeting. I don't know what Charles has said to them, but I mean, of all the days to go up to Balmoral, they go up on the day that it gets announced that Harry and Meghan are moving back to the UK for ever how long. And I just think they're not coming to terms with it very well. They're not coping very well. The news has been the worst news ever that they've had to listen to. And as I said before, probably when Harry and Meghan left the UK for good in March 2020, I bet William and Kate thought, lovely, they've gone, we're never ever going to have to see them ever again, and now they're back. And even though Meghan isn't going to be carrying out engagements, she's just going to do her business, and Harry will obviously just do the Well Child Awards and Scotty's Little Soldiers, but they're not actually going to be working royals. They're not going to be doing what William and Kate are doing. But still, William and Kate are seriously threatened, because even though when William and Kate are doing their engagements, they'll still think in the back of their minds Harry and Meghan are living just outside of London, and that's going to rattle them. That's going to really annoy them, just knowing that they're not that far away. And as we all know, when Harry and Meghan are in town, the media go crazy, the press, everyone. And I think the UK press and the media just need to be nice to Harry and Meghan. Look, they haven't done anything wrong. They told the truth about what William and Kate did to them, and they were briefing against them because of their popularity, and it was too much for them to cope with. And they said, we've got to get out of here. Meghan's mental health was really bad and she couldn't cope, but obviously she's in a much better place now and she's stronger. And the way people are talking at the moment are saying, oh, it's not fair on William and Kate receiving this news, but you've got to remember William and Kate started it. They were the troublemakers from day one. Meghan wanted to be friends with Kate. Kate didn't want it. Kate was really unwelcoming towards Meghan. She made her cry. She interfered with her wedding day, everything. And people are still treating William and Kate like the innocent parties. And they're acting like Harry and Meghan are the criminals. But it's the other way around. These two started it, and Harry and Meghan are getting all the beef still. And as I said, Kate's obviously in a really, really bad place. We know how sensitive she is. She's like a piece of fried bread. Every time you mention Meghan's name, it's like, ugh. And it's just too much for her to cope with. And she's got a very, very low tolerance. She loses her temper really quickly, just like William does. Obviously, that time when Meghan said that Kate had baby brain, and Kate flew off the handle and said, I demand an apology. And Meghan said, for what? And Kate got really uppity-dupty. And I just think William and Kate need to stay away from Harry and Meghan. And I know all the press and the media and the journalists are saying, oh, well, it's a chance for William and Kate to reconcile with Harry and Meghan. William and Kate would rather shoot themselves than reconcile with Harry and Meghan. We all know that. William and Kate, they don't want to reconcile they don't like Harry and Meghan because Harry and Meghan do the job better. So there's no way that these two are ever going to come over to their side and wanting to be friends again in the Fab Four. It's not going to happen, I'm afraid, because they're so threatened by how good the Sussexes are. It's just not going to work. And everyone said, oh, well, you never know, he might go and visit his brother. Apparently William wants nothing to do with Harry. Apparently he's just angry about Harry and Meghan, what they said about them on Oprah, the Netflix, what Harry put in the book, but it was the truth, and as they say, the truth always hurts. And obviously William and Kate knew that Harry and Meghan were telling the truth, because why didn't William and Kate take Harry and Meghan to court? That's what you normally do if they're telling lies, you take them to court, yet William and Kate did nothing. So again, that just proves to you that they knew Harry and Meghan were telling the truth. But as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Kate had some mental nervous breakdown. Again, she's very uptight. She's not a calm, relaxed, laid-back person. She's very ferocious, and every time Meghan gets mentioned, she flies off the handle. And as I said, just because Meghan isn't going to be carrying out engagements, I think just by Kate knowing she's just outside London somewhere, they're saying the Cotswolds, but I think just by Kate knowing that, and William, they're seething. They can't stand it. They don't want Harry and Meghan to be anywhere near them. And I don't see the point in being like that. Harry and Meghan were the royal rock stars in the royal family. When Meghan came along, they all said she was the new Diana. She was a breath of fresh air. She was the jewel in the crown. And obviously when Kate heard that everyone was calling Meghan the new Diana, she went to the press, started briefing the untrue stories about Meghan. And now Kate's acting like she's the victim. Oh, poor me, I'm so hard done by. Meghan's ruined my life. Well, actually, I think it's you, Kate, that's ruined Harry and Meghan's life. Because without you and all your made-up stories that you took to the press just to elevate yourself and to bring Harry and Meghan down, those lies have had consequences, and people remember those lies and they all think they're true. And they're not true, but you've ruined it for Harry and Meghan. You lied to make yourself feel better and to bring yourself up and to try and bring Harry and Meghan down. And obviously they're going to put in a hell of a lot more work now. They're going to carry out lots more of engagements. We can't have any shaking hands and all this. They're going to really have to up the ante. Obviously, they're going to go out on the same day as Harry's World Child Awards on the 8th of September. Harry's birthday is on the 15th of September. So obviously he'll be having his birthday in the UK. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did something. But as I said, it's going to be a struggle for the Waleses. They're not going to like this. It's the worst news they could have been told. And the trouble is, Harry and Meghan are doing the job better still. Even though they're in America, they're doing the job better. You're seeing results. When do you ever see any results of William's homelessness, Kate's early years? Nothing. They give them those projects to make out like they're busy when really they're not doing anything behind the scenes. Kate's just reading fashion magazines and William's on his Xbox all day. And the nerve of them to criticise Harry and Meghan. I mean, take a look at yourselves, William and Kate. You're criticising Harry and Meghan, yet they're literally the perfect role model for the king and queen, literally. And there was this journalist, and she said, look, personally, if I was one of the royal aides or King Charles, I'd say I want Harry as king and Meghan as queen consort, and tell William and Kate to step aside and let the experts do the job properly. And let's face it, they bring in so much more money. Meghan made a huge amount to the economy during her time in the royal family through her fashion choices and her brands, and Kate's just not up to the job. Everyone says, oh, she's improved and she's adapted to royal life. She hasn't improved. What has she done? She's done nothing. She hasn't made change. Meghan has achieved so much in her life, and yet she's the one that gets stick and hate, when really you should be moaning at Kate and William. They don't do half the amount of work that Harry and Meghan do. And it's not fair. But as I said, it's going to be a huge struggle for these two to cope with Harry and Meghan moving back with their children. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like Kate competing with Meghan on the school run. And it's just going to be like, it's going to be a war again. It's going to be dog eat dog almost. It's just, it's all going to go guns blazing. It's all going to be competitiveness, childish games, going out on the same day. I mean, it has to stop. I think if I was William&Kate, I'd just keep a dignified silence, do my own thing, don't do anything to react. But they will. And obviously, as I've said, they've been up to Balmoral yesterday on the day that it came out about Harry and Meghan moving back to the UK.
Squaddies, listen up. Look at this mess. The moment Harry and Meghan step foot back on UK soil, the palace immediately goes into full-blown panic mode. A Balmoral summit? Are you kidding me right now? Let's break this down like we're sitting at the kitchen table. Normal people don't drag the whole extended family to a castle in Scotland just because their brother booked a flight home. If your cousin calls and says, "Hey, I'm coming back to town," you don't call an emergency board meeting. You say, "Cool, pass the facts." So why is William sweating through his suit? Because he knows the truth. Deep down, he knows who actually brings the juice. When you are truly secure in your job, you don't freak out when talent walks into the room. But William and Kate, they've been coasting on part-time energy, doing 3 ribbon cuttings a year and calling it a hard day's work. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan were out here building an empire, launching global projects and pulling massive crowds without a single penny from the royal budget. That Balmoral summit isn't about strategy, it's pure, uncut insecurity. It's the manager who panics because the ex-employee, who was actually good at the job, just walked back into the office looking like $1 million. William is furious because he can't control them anymore. He can control the headlines, he can control the palace PR machine, but he cannot force the public to care about corporate royalty when genuine star power just touched down in London. If you need an emergency crisis meeting just to handle your own brother coming home, you aren't ready to rule a country, period. Harry and Meghan are back, the palace is shaking in its boots, and the rest of us are just sitting here with popcorn watching the whole illusion crumble on live TV. The palace loves pushing this whole duty and hard work story, but who are they actually trying to fool? Regular people are out here working 40+ hours a week, juggling 2 jobs, paying bills and burning the candle at both ends. Meanwhile, William and Kate pull up, cut 1 red ribbon, wave at a camera for 20 minutes and call it a grueling work week. The UK public has been calling them out for years, dubbed work shy because their schedule looks lighter than a weekend side hustle. Then look at Harry and Meghan. They left the royal payroll, stepped into the real world, and actually got to work. They didn't sit around waiting for a handout. They built global platforms from scratch, produced huge media deals, and expanded major international projects like the Invictus Games, all on their own dime and on their own terms. That is real hustle. And that's exactly why the firm is shaking in their boots. It exposes the whole illusion. When the people stepping outside the palace gates are outworking, outproducing, and making a bigger global impact than the ones staying inside on the public dime, it makes the whole royal setup look completely outdated. It shows that duty isn't about hiding behind palace walls, it's about actually showing up and putting in the work. William and Kate are terrified because the contrast is loud, the maths isn't mathing, and everybody watching can see who's actually putting in the labour.
Squaddies, forget the palace drama for a second. Forget the headlines about William, the endless speculation, all of it. For me, the biggest question is much simpler. What happens to Meghan and those children when they come back to Britain? Because Archie and Lilibet are kids. That's it. They didn't ask for royal titles. They didn't ask to become famous. And they certainly didn't ask to have grown adults analysing their every move. And Meghan? Come on. This woman has already been through years of intense media attention. So if she's coming back to the UK with her children, the last thing anybody needs is the same old circus waiting at the airport. Can we just behave ourselves for 5 minutes? Can Meghan walk into a restaurant without somebody analysing her outfit? Can Harry take his children somewhere without 10 cameras appearing from behind a bush? Can Archie and Lilibet go to school without becoming tomorrow's front page story? That's the bare minimum. Nobody is saying the press can't report on Harry and Meghan. They're public figures. Fine, do your job. But there's a massive difference between reporting and turning someone's entire existence into entertainment. And regular people understand this. Most parents aren't asking for much. They want their children safe, they want them happy, they want them to have a normal childhood. So imagine being a parent and knowing that your child's photograph could become somebody else's payday. That's where the line should be drawn. And honestly, I hope Meghan knows this too. She doesn't have to walk back into Britain and please everybody. She doesn't have to win over every newspaper. She doesn't have to answer every critic. She doesn't have to explain herself every 5 minutes. She can simply be a mother, a wife, and a woman living her life. And if William or anybody else doesn't like Harry and Meghan being back in Britain, that's their business. Harry and Meghan aren't returning to ask for permission to exist. They're making choices for their own family. So yes, squaddies, welcome them, support them, hope this chapter goes well. But most importantly, let's hope the British media finally understands one simple thing. Harry and Meghan may be coming back, but Meghan and those children deserve peace. And honestly, after everything they've been through, is that really too much to ask? And squaddies, before I finish, let's keep Harry, Meghan, Archie and Lilibet in our prayers, before they land, as they arrive, and throughout their time in the UK. May they travel safely, may they be protected, may they have peace wherever they go. May Archie and Lilibet be surrounded by love and allowed to simply be children. And after they land, may that protection continue. May Harry and Meghan have the strength and wisdom to handle whatever comes their way, and may the media show them the basic respect and decency every family deserves. No drama, no harassment, no unnecessary intrusion. Just peace, safety, and happiness for the Sussex family. God bless Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet, and may this new chapter be a beautiful one for them.
Squaddies, let's get real for a second. A future king is supposed to be cool, calm, and collected. You're supposed to be the guy who keeps his head when everything around him is going crazy. But William, every single time Harry's name comes up, the guy loses his mind. We've all got that one relative who holds a grudge forever over something that happened 5 years ago at Thanksgiving. That's William right now. He's throwing temper tantrums, stomping his feet, and acting like a petty teenager because his young here claiming you're ready to lead millions of people when you get this triggered over a family reunion. Kingship takes diplomacy, it takes thick skin, it takes maturity. Holding on to bad vibes and throwing royal-sized fits just shows everybody watching that the future crown is resting on very shaky ground. If you get this mad over a simple flight ticket, you aren't ready for the throne, period. William is over there obsessing over PR strategies, managing the court circular, and trying to control every single headline like a full-time social media manager. He's running the palace like a corporate marketing department, frantically counting clicks and trying to force-feed us this sanitized, scripted routine. And for what? Look at Harry and Meghan. They walked away from all those official PR teams, dropped the palace spin doctors, and stepped out on their own. They don't need a formal court circular or an orchestrated photo op to get people talking. The second they move, the entire world stops to watch. That is organic star power. You can't buy that with a PR team, and you definitely can't manufacture it with a corporate press release. That's why William is so utterly frustrated. It's the classic case of trying to control the narrative versus actually being the narrative. William can hire all the spin doctors in London and order up all the glowing tabloid covers he wants, but he's realizing a brutal truth. You can command a court, but you can't command public fascination. People don't want a dry corporate routine when real magnetic human energy just walked into the room. The Sussexes are living rent-free in their minds because they proved you don't need the crown to hold the room, and that scares the palace PR machine to its absolute core. Squaddies, at the end of the day, everybody wants to play detective, but let's cut through the noise. People are out here speculating non-stop about why Harry and Meghan might be spending time back in the UK. Is it Charles's health? Look, the king has been fighting his battle, and when a father is dealing with serious medical stuff, any normal human being wants to be closer to home. That's just real family instinct, plain and simple. Or maybe it's the Invictus games. Harry built Invictus from the absolute ground up for wounded veterans. It's his baby, it's major, and with big events on the horizon in Britain, of course he's going to be on the ground putting in the real work. Then you've got people zooming in on Archie and Lilibet's schooling, trying to map out their entire family tree and daily schedule. And you know what? There might be 100 other personal reasons that nobody on the internet knows a single thing about. And that is fine, because here's the bottom line for us as real supporters. We do not need to micromanage their life choices to back them.
Harry and Meghan aren't naive. They aren't rookie kids walking blindly into a room full of cameras. These two have survived the absolute worst the British press machine could throw at them, stepped out on their own and built a global empire completely on their own terms. They are smart, strategic and hyper-aware. They know exactly what they're doing every single play they make, and we trust their moves 100%. So, while the tabloids treat their lives like a weekly soap opera to sell cheap papers, we're looking at them like actual human beings. They deserve to move around, take care of their family, run their projects and breathe without every single step being dissected like a crime scene. Britain needs to cut the drama, drop the obsession, and treat Harry and Meghan with some basic human respect for once, instead of treating them like free content. The Sussexes are playing chess, while the tabloids are throwing plastic checkers at the wall, and no matter what the next chapter looks like, they've already won. Thanks for watching. Love you all. I am your host, Miles. Let's keep supporting Harry and Meghan. See you in the next episode. Blessed weekend, and God bless you all. Goodbye.